Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk with myself, Josh Call, and my co-host...
Dave Nichols, hello! Woo!
Yes, you're there. You
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
very positive, very happy.
Yeah, well, I've spent all day doing absolutely nothing, recovering from a hangover, and I've just about recovered,
Oh,
so...
well, probably at that point in time where the hangover's gone, you're a little bit tired, but you're feeling like you're feeling tip-top now. You're kind of just like, yes,
Oh, yeah,
I'm just living life to a full.
yeah, well, the full is, I think, a stretch, yeah. I've
Yeah.
got through the hangover, and the tiredness hasn't quite kicked in fully, and, yeah,
Mhm.
everything's feeling okay now, which is an
All
improvement
right.
on what I felt this morning. So,
Okay, excellent.
but, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, well, another week has passed in football, and another week's worth of news. So, is there anything that has caught your eye this week? We'll leave out big Premier League action from yesterday because obviously that's still to come. We've got that section later on. We're going to review Saturday's games. But any footballing news you want to discuss, Dave?
Yeah, the only ones I've really got, Messi getting injured, so he's not in El Clasico, and I think you might have said it before that it's going to be a Messi and Ronaldo-less, El Clasico for the first time in God knows how long, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's about 11
Yeah,
years. That'll be.
yeah, which makes it really interesting. And then obviously the injury to Messi, but on the flip side, Cristiano Ronaldo's just scored his 400th goal in his career,
Yes,
which is
yes, it is
ridiculous.
very impressive. It is,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. But no, then
Even
that's
Messi
about it.
injury, that wasn't a nice thing to watch. That was, yeah, arms don't bend that way. It
I
was
haven't seen it. I've seen him. I've seen the
oh
picture of
yeah.
him in agony on the floor, but I haven't actually seen how it happened or what it was. Or
It was just kind of just he was trying to dribble around a player and he kind of goes to the ground and just puts his arm down, but his elbow kind of bends backwards as it was. So yeah, he is in agony. But yeah, from a personal note, I'm a bit sad to see him injured because Inter Milan now play a Messi-less Barcelona, which I think if they get a result, that pretty much spells the end for Spurs' hopes of getting out of the group. So that's not good from my perspective. And overall, I'd like to see Messi play as many games as possible because I love players beating records. So the more games he
yeah,
plays, the more goals he can get. He can get to that 400 mark in the European goals. I think he's about 30 odd goals behind Ronaldo, so he needs as many games as he can get.
yeah, very true, very true. So, what about you? Anything that caught your eye in the news?
Well, yeah, linked to that, we're kind of Real Madrid progress has been pretty poor so far. Lopetegui is
Oh
days are
yeah,
numbered, aren't they? Very
yes.
much numbered. I would be amazed if he. I reckon there'll be a change before El Clasico.
Get
I
Zidane
think.
back in.
The rumor has it is Antonio Conte,
Oh, interesting. Okay, but yeah, it's
which I
four
mean,
losses in the last 5 games, isn't it? They've had Madrid.
yeah,
It's
haven't scored for goodness knows how long, and yeah, it's just one of those things that Real Madrid can't really afford. Like looking back to a question we had a few weeks ago around how long's too long and how's too soon too soon. It depends on situation, and for a European giant, there isn't a very long amount of time you can wait. They need
yeah,
to. I think he's just spiraled out of control. I mean, what a horrendous 6 months it's been for Lopetegui with the
yeah.
farce that was the World Cup, him getting sacked the night before, and now he's going to get sacked from his Real Madrid job after, what, 10 games or something like that.
It's, yeah,
It's
it's
6 months to forget, isn't it?
especially after like if you think about the two managers he sort of followed at Spain, or not necessarily didn't follow him directly at Spain, but they had such success, and then he's
Yeah,
gone. He went there and did okay, and then royally cocked it up before the World Cup with all this Real Madrid stuff, and then he's followed Zidane,
yeah,
who won the Champions League like 3 times in a row. And then he's just cocking it up again at Madrid.
yeah.
So he's going to be a fallen stock by quite some distance, I'd
Yeah, I bet
imagine.
he wish he never touched Real Madrid with a barge pole, doesn't he? Because
Yeah, yeah,
that's just a bit kind
exactly.
of it all tits up from there. So working backwards then through the week, uh, Wayne Rooney was a bit in the news. He scored a lovely free kick goal, and he's done very well in the MLS, and it's led to a surge up the table from DC United. He's 18 appearances in the MLS for Wayne Rooney. He's contributed 16 goals, so 10
Wow.
goals, 6 assists. So that is pretty impressive. I mean, it is impressive, but then on the other hand, you look at it, he's just going toe to toe with Bradley Wright Phillips. So it's found his level, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was expecting him to go there and do really well. It's slightly probably beyond the expectations I thought for Rooney because he has really propelled them up the table. They're in the playoffs now, I think, aren't they? And they were bottom of the conference or something when they.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth saying that before he joined, they hadn't yet moved. They had played however many away games at that point, so he's not. But he is. He just kind of binds the team together. Because he's a very baller, isn't he? He just kind of slows things down. He makes players better around him. So yeah, he's a good player to have in a lesser side. I think he can really make a difference. So yeah, well done, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Like, I don't watch much MLS because of the time difference makes it incredibly difficult out in Singapore. I used to watch it in the UK actually when it was on Sky.
You used to be a fan, weren't you?
Yeah. I used to watch the MLS quite a lot, and I really want to watch DC United when they play LA Galaxy and see Rooney and Zlatan go head to head.
Oh yeah. That'll be a big money spin, a big watch. Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah. So, and then while we're talking about strikers, what about Usain Bolt? 2 goals.
Yes.
2 goals on his.
Usain Bolt.
He's been offered 2 contracts and turned 1 down, and it's all very.
I watched his first appearance, and albeit, it was a GIF or something on Twitter. This is a few months back, and he just showed his first touch being atrocious, and I was like, oh god, yeah. There's more to being football than fast, but he did all right. It's quite poor opposition, I think, but yeah, It's great marketing for whoever takes him on, and it's interesting to see. What will be interesting to see is that I always think that football games might need to kind of recalibrate
exactly what I said. I said that, I sent a tweet saying that to Football Manager. I was like, if Usain Bolt signs a contract, does that mean you've got to temper down everybody else's acceleration and pace in the game? Because technically he'll be a professional footballer, and you're judging them all against it. It'll be absolutely.
He's
incredible.
got to be top level, isn't he? Yeah.
It is a bit of a, it's good for him. He's following a dream in Usain Bolt, and he said he always wanted to be a professional footballer, so that's really good. I just imagine being the defender when you've played like 70, 65, 70 minutes, and you're getting tired, and your muscles are starting to tighten up, and then you see Usain Bolt come off the bench. And you're just like, oh my god.
Do you know what I reckon? Absolutely relish it going, because how many times you must, players, obviously professional athletes, they see Usain Bolt on TV going, oh yeah, I could take him on a race. They actually get a chance to do it in a match, and it must be absolutely amazing for them. It's reminded me recently. I saw a clip. Mo Farah was in a sports day, you get a dad's race.
Yeah.
And Mo Farah was competing. It would be a 60-metre race, but he came third in this race. And very right, Mo Farah's going to be able to have a fair old sprint on him. He came third in this dad's race, and to be fair, the other 2 dads were absolutely flying. It wasn't like Mo Farah wasn't giving it his all, but it's just that kind of that challenge of going up against a professional athlete in their. What is their kind of their field? It must be spurs other people on. So yeah, be interesting to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. Anything else from you in the news?
Just to go touch on the Nations League, it drew to a close this latest round earlier in the week, and obviously we had England versus Spain, and England scored some absolute goals. I don't know if you've seen the highlights of that day.
I've seen the highlights.
The goals we scored, they were sexy.
Raheem Sterling's goal was another level. It was incredible, that goal.
Yeah, it had shades of Michael Owen against Argentina, that kind of dinked finish, kind of the far corner. It was, but yeah, all 3, Rashford, Kane, Sterling in the build-up, it was just beautiful. But I'm not one for gratuitous violence or over heavy challenges, but boy, did I enjoy that Eric Dyer challenge on Sergio Ramos. I loved it.
Part of me is like, it's great when one of those tackles happened, but then part of me sort of like, it shouldn't ever really get as much attention as it's got, because it was the referee booked him for it, didn't it? But it was a good challenge. It was totally unnecessary, but
yeah, it's not unnecessary because you're going in like that. You can't win the ball.
Yeah.
The ball's straight.
It's like, but why is it getting so much attention? It's just a tackle. That's what annoys me about it. It's
because it's Sergio Ramos.
I know it is. I know.
Yeah, but if only I haven't looked back and thought, Can Eric Dyer stay on his feet and win the ball like 10 yards out at that point? Or he's gone, you know what, don't care about winning the ball. I've got a chance to absolutely wipe Sergio Ramos out here. And he just went, yes, please.
Yeah. It was great to see it. It was great to see.
But it could be seen as that was the catalyst for our performance. It's like it was kind of sometimes it does take something like that in the match, just because we were really getting kind of opened up a bit, and it was like, oh god, this could be an absolute nightmare. But that challenge went in, and then it kind of the England players seemed to up their game a bit from there on. So I think Eric Dyer should be man of the match. Or as Sam Allardyce says, you see Sam Allardyce sort of saying how he doesn't see there's much difference between Busquets and Dyer.
Shut
I was
up,
Big Sam. I wouldn't be criticising Eric Dyer every single week.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, it's incredible. But no, it was good. Yeah, it was a good game, a good movement up front. That's all it did, wasn't it? The three strikers, and Harry Kane playing in a more sort of like a supporting striker role, where he was clearly told he doesn't.
He can pick a pass, that lad. He really can. Yeah. He's got a strong pass to him, so he can crossfield ball it or get his head up like he played through Rashford's. But But my final Nations League point was what we picked up on when we talked about it earlier in a podcast on the Nations League one, is that when the lesser sides win a game for the first time, and Gibraltar did that, they won back-to-back games. They've now won as many competitive games in the last 10 days as Germany have won in the last year. So you tell me who's better, right?
To be honest, it would probably be quite a close game at the moment if you played Gibraltar v Germany. But it was. It's the Nations League, just while we're touching on it, in a whole has been very strange, because it seems like some nations are taking it really seriously and some aren't, and no one's really sure. Like imagine
could easily be B team style, couldn't it?
Yeah, like I imagine all the FAs sitting around a table like imagine it being like NATO or something, and they're trying to decide whether to take this seriously or not, this competition.
Well, that's what I remember posing this question previously. It's like there's got to be some back channels where teams talk through in league competitions like League Cups and all that, going, we're putting second string out, don't be a knob and put a full stock string side out, embarrass us. And because he always seems to kind of get matched up and get reasonably fair, but it's where they've kind of sensed the tone of the Nations League.
Yeah, very true, very true. So I've just got two other bits in the news that I'd like to discuss very quickly. We talked about this in a very, very, very early podcast. The Wembley sale didn't go through.
It didn't go through.
It got rejected. Thoughts?
Bit apathetic, really. It seemed like it was all going to go ahead. I think it's probably good that it didn't go ahead, because it seems a bit like the Brexit promise that all that extra money going to the EU was going to go to the NHS, being in likened to the fact that all the sale money is going to go to grassroots football. If it happened, it would have been horrific for the FA. So I think it's probably a good thing it didn't go through.
Okay, fair enough. And Thierry Henry has got a full-time management job, and it started pretty poorly. So,
yes.
Yeah, what are thoughts on Henry? We're discussing it before to say if it was a win-win. I said he was in a win-win situation, because Monaco, if it doesn't improve, he can turn around and just say, it was like this when I got here, and I haven't had enough time to fix it in one season. And if he does well, then he can say, look what I did to bring Monaco up. But, losing to whoever it was that Monaco
Strasbourg, and went off and only scored via a last minute penalty. So not great, but there's plenty of time to go. I mean, they are now 19th in the league, so they have dropped a point position. But it's not the start he'd have hoped for. But I think
is he still doing his Belgian assistant manager job? Surely he's given that up.
You know what? I presume not, but I don't know for sure, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Anything else quickly on the news before we go to the?
I saw one question posed, and I thought I'd ask you, because I know something popped straight into my head when I saw it. So the question was, the most famous controversial refereeing decision in your club's history. Go.
In my club's history.
Yeah, and Manchester United. What is the most? Yeah.
Clearly, when the ball was about 2 yards over the line, and Roy Carroll still saved it.
Oh, we've got the same one, have we? Oh, right, brilliant.
Like, it's not controversial against my team, but it was definitely controversial. No. It was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Like when the
Yeah.
linesman
God.
was running down the line with his Man United scarf covering his face so he couldn't see.
Yeah, he just didn't. But it was. I can forgive him slightly because it was such a out of the blue shot, and just kind of like, oh, caught everybody surprised, and so the lines was nowhere near it. But I mean, I don't forgive him that much.
No.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know, yeah,
can you think of one which was against your side? You don't really have them because typically most of the time you supported them have been Fergie, so you've had all the Howard Webb
Here
and
we go, yeah,
benefits,
here we
all
go.
that, haven't you?
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. A controversial thing against my side, against United. Nothing springing to mind.
That's sick. That makes me sick.
Well, when
that
you
makes
said that
me
question,
sick. You should have them.
When you said that question, the first thing that came to my head was that Roy Carroll one against Tottenham. And that just is now in my mind, thinking about that, how far.
Right,
and I'm thinking about all
we'll
the
leave that
memes,
one there. But
like all the gifs and stuff that release with it, where people change the goal line and put it backwards. Like it was a straight line and then curved it round the ball. Of course, it didn't go in.
Yeah.
Okay, come back to it.
We'll leave it there.
But
yeah, comments below if you can pull your side's most controversial refereeing decision, so we can all relive that moment of anguish for yourselves.
Yeah.
So before we embark on the review of this week's Premier League football, I've obviously got to pose this week's quiz question.
Okay, it's happening again. It's happening again.
It's happening again. This is going to be a recurring feature, this one.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
So this is Quiztium Panucci. I'm going to come up with a different one each week. It's Chris Pun. So it's Quiztium Panucci.
Nice.
So yesterday for Eintracht Frankfurt, we saw Luka Jovic score 5 goals in a 7-1 win, which was mightily impressive. And in the last 25 years, 14 players have scored 5 goals in a single match in the top 5 leagues in Europe. But I only want to know the 5 Premier League players to have completed that feat. So there have been 5 Premier League players who've scored 5 goals in a game. So I would like you, listeners, and Dave to tell me those 5 players. Obviously, bonus points for clubs they were for, clubs they were against, score lines. If you can get the whole hog, amazing. But so I'll initial thoughts, Dave. Have you got anything?
Andy Cole, Man United against Ipswich.
Correct.
Yes, I've got one. Good. That's the only one that first has come to mind. Let me have a think about it, and I'll.
All right.
I'll let you know.
We'll pick that up at the end.
5 goals in a game. It's
yeah. No one's ever scored 6.
Yeah. It's just
I think the most spectacular one was Robert Lewandowski for Bayern. Scored something like 5 in 9 minutes or something. That's the most ridiculous one.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. That's a proper thinker. That is a really hard one.
All right. So yeah, get your thinking caps on but pay attention to this next section where we talk about yesterday's Premier League football. So. We start with the early kickoff. We have Chelsea versus Manchester United. Mourinho, and it ended all square 2-2, Dave. Obviously, being a Man United fan, I imagine you have some thoughts on this. So, how do you reckon it went for?
I was watching it on a phone at Oktoberfest, so my memory may be a bit patchy. But
do you realise it was 2-2? Have I just refreshed your memory there?
Yeah, no, I did realise it was 2-2. Yeah, I think, and I will put my hands up. And Chelsea's equaliser, I initially thought De Gea had made a massive blunder, and then when I watched it again this morning, realised he'd actually made a fantastic save from Rudiger.
Yes, he had made a fantastic save, yeah.
And Ross Barkley pounced on it first. But I think, the game overall, probably one of the most obvious games that you could sum up by saying it was a game of 2 halves. Because Chelsea in the first half were pretty damn good, and Man United were pretty damn shocking. And the second half, again, it was similar to the Newcastle thing. It looks like Mourinho just sort of got them in at half time and was like, well, go and play without fear. Go and just do what you do on the training ground sort of thing. And, Martial and Rashford both looked good and threatening at the back. And they really, whether it was told them tactical wise or whether it was the player using intelligence in the terms of Rashford against Alonso, Rashford just sort of half tracked him back. Like when Alonso pushed forward, Rashford and so he knew that the counter attack was on, and that one of the goals came from Marco Alonso being out of position, and it worked really well. And I think it was just as a Man United fan, it's so frustrating to think, why can't they just play like that all the time?
Well, yeah, you say play without fear after half time, but that's probably because they're actually now a goal down at half time, or 2 goals down in case of Newcastle, so there is less fear because happened, you've conceded a goal, you're in a losing position. So
Yeah,
that's why the fear erodes a bit, I suppose.
true. Yeah, very true. I mean, don't get Chelsea. I think a draw, possibly a fair result, maybe. From what I can remember seeing, Chelsea probably may have just edged the game as a whole. But
Hmm.
I think Martial's goal was really good, and it was actually good to see. Like when he got subbed off, he was annoyed to be subbed off, but then the embrace with Mourinho on the touchline was quite good to see. Like Mourinho said
Yeah,
something
he'd done
to
his
him,
fair share of
hug
tracking
him,
back. It seemed like he'd,
yeah,
yeah,
and Mourinho
yeah.
said something to him that caused Martial to smile, which is in the way that you hear about it in the press and things like that, you'd never thought that Martial would smile about anything Mourinho says, but it
Hmm.
was it was a very good a very good advert for the Premier League, I'd say. And it was good that before the international break, it was quite a boring game, wasn't it? It was Liverpool Man City 0-0, where both teams sort of equaled each other out, and then it came back after the international break, and you got quite a good frantic sort of 2-2, lots of chances created, some shocking defending from both teams, but yeah, it was a, a fair result. I'd go with. I don't know. It's just like Mourinho hanging on by a thread, isn't it? We said he had 5 games,
Yeah.
or the 5 game run he's got, which now is Juventus and Man City are in there and Everton away. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But it's just little shitty things that are annoying me. Like I probably shouldn't say that on a podcast, but like both their goals coming from corners and Pogba just sort of not being aware of how close you actually have to mark someone to make a challenge from a set piece.
Yeah, that was pretty poor marking from Pogba, and
But he
yeah,
you could tell like he got really angry even before the ball had gone in with himself. So he's doing it wrong, but you can't just be world class at certain points. Like Lionel Messi and Ronaldo and people like that are generally world class 95% of the time they're on a football pitch. Generally, Pogba's sort of world class 50%, maybe not even that, and that's what's frustrating. That's what's frustrating about it. But the game as a whole, I thought 2-2 was a fair result. I thought the second half by Man United was much better. Defensively, we improved, but set pieces let us down, which is odd for
yeah.
Man United. It's
I
very
mean,
odd.
yeah, with Man United. I mean, it's goals conceded. This time last year, after 9 games, you kept 7 clean sheets. You've now only kept 1.
Yeah,
Only Fulham, Cardiff, Burnley, and Huddersfield have conceded more goals than you.
yeah.
That's not a position Man United need to find themselves in. It's
Not. It's
poor.
shocking, and I know De Gea isn't having the same sort of spectacular seasons that he's had in previous years, and that sort of follows on from when he was pretty shocking at the World Cup for Spain. But it's still the same thing of, would we be in an even worse position if De Gea wasn't De Gea? Because although he's not playing
Yeah.
brilliantly, he's still a fantastic goalkeeper. And it's sort of like, is it like, is a 2-2 against Chelsea away? You would generally say that's a really good result for Man United because we've struggled at Stamford
Yeah,
Bridge
it's just
in history.
true, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's like, is it actually papering over the cracks? Like the Newcastle win massively papered over cracks. Like if we'd got a 2-1 win out of that game, is it papering over the cracks? So it's a double-edged sword at the moment. Like really happy with a 2-2 draw, really happy with how we played in the second half, but there's still these fundamental errors and things, and it's annoying.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose in your level of intoxication, and you may not have seen the Mourinho instance with
Oh
Marco
yeah,
Ianni.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have no criticism over Mourinho for this, because if someone came and celebrated in front of me, in front of where he's not meant to be, doing that, I think you are an absolute tool. Get back. In fact, he ran off down the tunnel afterwards.
That's the thing.
Like,
Yeah, that's
come
the
on.
thing.
Yeah.
But I also
So
quite like the way both managers in their press conferences afterwards, which I watched the next day, both immediately drew a line under it. Sarri was like, "Yeah, it was our fault. We've apologised," and Mourinho was like, "Yeah, they've apologised. That's the end of it." It's like for once, managers being sensible.
yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
draw a line on it. So Mourinho did a right incident, but yeah, pretty level, and so we'll see how the next 4 games go for Mourinho.
yeah. Right, next
All
up.
right, okay. Next up, we have the South Coast Derby. So this was Bournemouth versus Southampton, and it finished 0-0, which led Mark Hughes to describe the result as a statement.
What?
Now, I don't quite know what the statement was. The statement was, we can't score a goal because this is the 4th game in a row they haven't scored. Is that the statement, Mark? Because it wasn't much more than that. It was Yeah,
I mean,
we said
yeah.
earlier in the other podcasts that Mark Hughes isn't the man to do it, and I think my mind yet still to be changed.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, Bournemouth are playing well, but I don't think you can say a 0-0 as a statement. Yeah, against Bournemouth. So no, interesting. Okay, we'll skip over that one. I have seen the
Yeah.
highlights, and there wasn't really much to talk about. So
No.
next on my list was a big shock, which I assume would have ruined some accumulators. Cardiff City 4, Fulham 2.
Yeah, the relegation battle of the newly promoted sides.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this was, for me, this was a side who has no identity, knows what they're all about, versus a side who's gone through a lot of change. They've tried to strengthen over the summer, they've tried to reinvent themselves, same manager, but different players, and it's just not working for Fulham. Fulham at the moment, Jukanovic, for me, is probably one of the most under pressure managers in the league now. They haven't really got going yet.
After spending that
They
money.
line up so they line up so poor defensively. He's changing a side every week to try and work out what he's doing. And it's just it's completely opposite to Cardiff. Cardiff know exactly what they're about. Colin Wanker has got it. It knows it's exactly what it was last year. To be fair, Fulham were in the same position last year under Jukanovic. They were playing poorly and then they went on a run. But this is that was a championship. This is a Premier League. So I worry for Jukanovic's future personally.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, they've got negative 14 goal difference after 9 games.
Yeah.
Fulham. That's pretty dreadful.
They're on course to concede the most goals in Premier League history.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous.
They're on course to concede something like 105, 106 goals with this current record. Do you want to guess who's the record set by most goals conceded in a 38 game season?
It's got to be Derby, hasn't it? When they got the least points.
It is Derby in the 07-08 season. They only conceded 89 goals, so they are set to absolutely smash that out of the park. But you'd imagine there'll be a change of manager. Big Sam will come in and sort it all out and keep them up.
It's quite interesting. That whole bottom of the table is still quite interesting because if Fulham win and results go their way, they're up at 13th, which is crazy.
To the point now where the bottom is where is around the bottom half of the table, isn't it? Because it's become very tight because obviously clubs have a lot more money to spend. It just compresses the quality, doesn't it? But I suppose credit to Cardiff yesterday.
Do we have to give credit to Cardiff?
Fun fact: Cardiff yesterday scored 10% of their total Premier League goals they've scored in yesterday's game.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I suppose it was nice to see Ryan Sessegnon score. He hasn't quite set the league alight. Everybody kind of hoped he was going to be this fantastic player, but he was in the Championship. Obviously, it's hard for him. He's only 17, 18, and the team aren't performing as a whole. So
I'm glad he's got the goal. I think he's moved. Is he moving? January or the end of this year? He's got to, hasn't he?
I think if they get relegated, he'll be moving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think there's any harm. He needs to be in a side where he's used in a position where he wants to play. That's one thing that young players need to define their position and get played in it, so they're developing where they need to be. He doesn't need to be playing. I don't think he's a left back now. He doesn't need to be playing there. So as long as the system's are right for him and the team are playing well, stay there because you're still very, very young. Don't make the foolish move.
True. So, very true.
Yeah, well done. Next up, we had something which wasn't a shock. This is a result or a game I feel like I've seen 10, 20 times already. This was Man City versus Burnley and it 5-0. It just seems like it is just one of those things that Man City are going to do.
It's just so, annoying to see it. I love it. I love seeing the goals. They're playing great football. But, it's just like when you see them play like that, you honestly think, who on earth can stop that? Who, other than Eric Dyer trying to tackle everybody with a slide challenge, who can stop that?
I mean, the game wasn't devoid. I mean, apart from the 5 goals, there's some more incidents as well. So I don't know if you've seen this. In the first minute, Vincent Kompany goes in high on Aaron Lennon, who had a couple of stitches in his thigh. That could easily have been a red card. And there's also another incident later on where Leroy Sané loses a ball when down the left wing. Loughton challenges him. Loughton moves forward and he plain and simply just swings through him, just petulantly. It's so needlessly petulant because you're so many goals. I can understand players frustrated when you're losing, but you're winning at that point. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And if we've defined kind of Joe Rawls' challenge the other week, Cardiff versus Spurs, as a red card, but that could easily be a red card. On a different day, Man City could easily have had 2 red cards in those situations, and it was very poor from both those players.
Yes, totally agree. I totally agree. It was, but yeah, okay. Let's talk about that's the negatives. Let's talk about the goals because they were superb. Mahrez, Fernandinho.
Mahrez, Fernandinho, perfect. But for me, Sean Dyche came out after this match, and the second goal I'm about to talk about, where Sane's challenge goes down.
Yeah.
Referee, the players all turn around to referee. Referee puts his whistle to his mouth, doesn't blow, waves play on. The ball is then rolling out of play. It's then kept on and then laid back across goal and turned in by Bernardo Silva. It's unfortunate, but it's all caused by the Burnley players not playing.
Yeah.
If they'd played to the whistle, they would have probably seen the ball out because it's very close to being out. It's hard to say away, but there's no Burnley player near it because they stopped and looked at the referee. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Just carry on and stop the in or make sure it goes out of play. And so Dyche is like, well, the ball was pretty much out of play. It's like, yeah, but the referee put the whistle to his mouth. Yeah, he did both those things, but your players stopped, turned around and looked at the referee, like 3-4 of them. It's like amateurish, really poor. And Burnley have not been the same defensive strong unit they have been in previous seasons. They're looking pretty weak at the back this year, and it's not situation to be in.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bleak for them, to be honest. Like I said, they're part of that group.
They've never been a goal scoring side.
No,
yeah,
and they're part of that group. I was saying about Fulham. If they win, that Fulham would go up to 13th. Where if Burnley lost and all the results go against them, they drop to something like 16th, 17th, and then you're looking over your shoulder, and it's all a bit of a worrying time. So, but yeah, okay, that's enough talking about Man City. They're just annoying.
Yeah, I would say just one quickly. It's nice to see Kevin De Bruyne come back on the pitch. That's always nice to see.
Yeah, he's a very good footballer. I really like Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
So next up then, Rafa Benitez's Newcastle continue to struggle.
Yeah, the Chris Hughton derby, going back to his old club. And,
yes, yeah.
Oh, Newcastle are in real trouble. This is a game that Newcastle needed to win. They should have won. I mean, Brighton have such a poor. I think they'd won something like 1 of their last 17 away games. They really should have done better. I mean, Brighton barely I think Brighton had 2 shots on target. One of them was double deflection, goal went in. They really did not threaten aside from that. I think Newcastle had something like 23, 24 shots. It doesn't look good for Newcastle at the moment. It really doesn't.
I mean, Benitez is only still there because he has this clause in his contract that if he leaves, he has to pay. Like that, Mike Ashley won't sack him because he won't pay him out of his contract to sack him, and Benitez won't leave because he has to pay the club back too much money.
And seemingly clubs won't take him because they have too much to buy him out. He's just he's seemingly like a slave.
Yeah,
he's just completely tied to it. Yeah,
I mean, to be like 9 games into the season and already be 3 points off safety, it doesn't sound like very much, but.
No,
like, you could win a game and you would still be in the bottom 3. That's tough.
Yeah, that's a disheartening thing, isn't it? I think players say they don't look at the table, but I imagine it's nice to see on a Saturday after you go, look at me, I've just gone up the table, and it's disheartening if you win and it makes no impact, but. It's a big set. I think a lot of the next fixtures are against sides in the lower half of the table for Newcastle. They've got Southampton, they've got Burnley, they've got West Ham.
Yeah.
They've got Huddersfield coming up. So it's they need by Christmas, if they're bottom of the table, I think then you're in real trouble there. But they need to get themselves out of it before then.
Yeah, I'd agree. And the issue they have is that Benitez is a coach normally famed for his defensive stance and his defensive management and
always on that defensive element, aren't they? Always quite negative. Yeah,
and it's just not working for him. So okay, next up, your beloved Spurs with a good 1-0 win away.
Yes, yeah. This has now turned into Spurs' best Premier League start ever, and the part of me looks back and thinks if we'd beaten Watford and hadn't lost to them, we'd be top of the table, which is
Yeah.
really, really messing with my head because we have not played good at all. I think we've been dealt a very kind hand with our fixtures, maybe because it was, I don't know, because of our new stadium not being ready, and they were being kind to us, or maybe they wanted us to have a nice run of games for a new stadium they thought was going to be in place. But it's been very positive run of fixtures. We haven't really played too many, so I'm taking it because we just need to come in and still be up there. So it's good to be up there and playing well. But by all accounts, I've only seen highlights of yesterday because I was out and about, but by all accounts we would somewhat undeserving. I saw some fantastic saves from the Arnautovic versus Lloris battle where Lloris obviously came out on top. I mean, it's a bit, I feel harsh in saying this, but I mean, if you're letting Sissoko, you've got to have a look at your defending there because that man doesn't contribute to many goals. But yeah, very positive result. Not an easy place, especially London derbies. I often feel that West Ham G themselves up, especially for the Tottenham matches. You see them play quite poorly, not just this season, but you see them play poorly in the round of fixtures. And then suddenly versus Spurs, it seems like it's their cup final.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're doing all right. I think they're going in the right places.
I think West Ham just seem to be finally clocking on to what Pellegrini wants, and it's all sort of clicking, like at the moment.
Yeah, the more time it goes with it, I think.
And just on the game then, so Eric Lamela obviously continuing his bit of resurgence. He seems to be playing quite well,
isn't he?
This season. Always a player I quite liked, and I've always wanted him to do well. So.
Yeah, I mean, because when he came from Roma, I think he scored 15 goals that season. It's like, oh, we got this goal scorer in centre midfield, and he's had a real harsh time of it in England, be it homesickness,
injuries,
family bereavements, injuries, like long injuries, a couple of. It'd be good if this is a full playing in a fully functioning side, and I mean, he's been quite fortuitous, I suppose, with Dele Alli and Ericsson being injured, so it means he is definitely in there.
Yeah,
both fit. You think maybe he'd have a bit part role on the bench to play, but I mean he's scored a number of goals. I mean he scored against Barcelona as well. Played well in that. I love his intensity.
Yeah,
he epitomises Poch for me. He's obviously Argentinian like him, but his pressing. He's got a little edge, but kind of like Dele Alli has that kind of little kind of bit of nastiness, which I love.
Yeah.
Obviously, in your own players, you hate it in opposition, but yeah, he's a fantastic player with quality on the ball as well. So I'm very happy to see him do well as well.
Yeah, excellent. Good. And then on to Wolves Watford. A very good win for Watford. This one, 2-0 away.
Yeah, again,
very good.
This is another one which I think messed up a few accumulators.
Yeah.
Watford doing their kind of second half of the season a bit early, where they just kind of peter out. Wolves doing well. I mean, they continued their record and another unchanged 11, but in a space of a minute, it can all change, can't it? Because two absolute blooting goals from Watford.
Yeah, Etienne Capoue that goal from Etienne Capoue was an absolute rocket.
It was, wasn't it? I still keep looking, being some form of deflection, but I haven't seen it yet. But because Rui Patricio just does not move. I think it's rooted to the spot.
Hit so quickly, hit with such venom that the keeper. It's one of those the keeper has no chance. So
I actually preferred Pereira's. Pereira's finish with his outside his left foot into the corner there was just really sumptuous finish. So I was, but both goals, very good goals. But it's just that quick 1-2 blow can just take the stuffing, doesn't it? I mean, obviously gives the other team confidence, and they've got something to hold on to. So it's very hard to come back from that. But yeah, surprise for everyone. The battle of the W's, and Watford come out on top.
Is it? Yeah, Is it? Wolves starting to get tired because they haven't rotated their team, or do you think that's not a valid excuse yet?
I think I'll be very surprised now if he keeps the same 11.
Yeah.
All the time you're playing well, you can keep the same 11, and players really can't complain because it's functioning. When it starts to not function and players go, well, I could have made a difference there, I think you'll see a changed 11. Well, I say that, or he'll go, look, I trust you so far, go and show me it's worth me putting trust in you again and do it again. But I think he'll change it up.
Yeah, very true. So Okay, and then on to the final game of Saturday. Huddersfield losing at home to Liverpool, another team that are really, really struggling, Huddersfield, this season.
Yeah, but they
Did you
played
watch
really
it?
well, did Huddersfield. I've seen a fair amount of it. Yeah, I didn't get to catch it all, but Huddersfield deserved more out of this match.
Okay.
Um, yeah, managerial mates, wasn't it? Wagner
Yeah.
and Klopp go back away, but yeah. So Salah got his goal. It's not been too common this season. It's amazing what confidence can do to a striker, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
last year, everything he tried last year, he had like 100% conviction of it and came off. This year, it's almost like Space Jam. His talent's been given to Paco of Dortmund, because that man is
He's
on
on
fire.
He's on fire.
He's averaging a goal every 18 minutes in the Bundesliga this year. It's just like, wow.
That is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So Salah's talents have been transported over to Paco, but yeah, Huddersfield had created a fair few chances. They were really up for this match, and unlucky not to get something out of it. But I mean, it's a good result for Liverpool. 1-0 results when you're not play. If you're the second best side, if you hold on defensively. I mean, Alisson now has 6 clean sheets in his first 9 matches.
Impressive,
Only bettered or equalled by Petr Cech for debut kind of clean sheets. So, that's a criticism the Liverpool side of 18 months ago, not keeping enough clean sheets. So I think I'd be happy to win like that.
Yeah, very true, very true. So, well, that's all the fixtures that we're playing on Saturday. Obviously, there's games happening on the Sunday as well. And no, there's one on Sunday and one on Monday.
One game,
this week.
yeah, for Everton, Crystal Palace, yeah.
Yeah, and then Arsenal somebody on the Monday. I can't remember who it was that Arsenal have. So, but the table looks like this
first, yeah.
at the moment. So you've got Newcastle, Huddersfield, and Fulham in the relegation spots. No, relegation.
Oh yeah.
Spots. Yeah, 2019 and 18 respectively. And then in the European spots, you've got Arsenal in the Europa League at the moment. Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City is the top 4 in that order. Obviously going from 4th to 1st. So it looks interesting. Bournemouth just a 1 point behind Arsenal in 6th. So I honestly didn't see Bournemouth doing that well.
No, it's good for them. And I mean, Arsenal they play Leicester on the Monday.
Yes,
And
that's it. Yeah,
that's normally a good match actually, and so it'll be quite an enjoyable one. But I can see it ending with top 4, bottom 3. If it ended the season like that, I don't think many people would be. I mean, I suppose Cardiff are out of the zone, but Newcastle and Huddersfield have been so poor so far.
yeah.
I think people would want to see Fulham get out of it, but it's that kind of grit and determination that you could see Cardiff through. If Fulham don't switch things around and actually start playing effectively, you can have all the nice players you want, but if you're not doing it effectively, it's not going to breed results, is it? But
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll end that review there of the weekend's fixtures so far, because we've eaten up quite a lot of time already of the podcast, and we need to crack on to the wiki files. Josh, I've sent you a wiki file, so while you're opening up and having a think, I'll do the classic theme tune. I need the wiki files. You got a wiki file. I've got a wiki file for you. Boom. There we go.
Thank you. We're going to need to put some music to that. We're going to have to dedicate some time and just get some music behind that, because that is beautiful, Dave. Voice of an angel.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. I need to get I need to find the Quickie Mart theme with no words, so that I can just put that over the top. That's what I need to do. But there you go. You can tell the viewers what you've got. Are you going to get this one really quickly again?
No, I'm not going to get this one for good again. So we start off in 1989. There's a 2-year stint at MBC Roosendaal. 69 appearances, 33 goals. Good goal scoring record, almost 1 in 2. Then we move for a 4-year stint in 91 to 95 to NAC Breda. 115 appearances, 81 goals. This is good goal scoring, top-notch goal scoring.
It is.
Gets a move to probably then a much stronger Celtic side than we have now. We have a couple of years of Celtic, 69 games, 44 goals. This is better than a goal every other game. When we move to Nottingham Forest...
Just to interject you there, just to interject you.
Yeah?
He missed out on Celtic's best team by like 2 years. So if he hadn't have moved to Forest, he would have been playing the same time as like Hearts and Sutton and people like that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure there was space for him.
Well, that's true.
He's clearly a striker.
That's true.
Carry on. Nottingham Forest. Moved Nottingham Forest. This must be his Premier League stinks. This is his only English side he's played for.
Yep.
So we have 71 appearances, 36 goals. Lovely. Very, very strong performance there. Oh, but he's scored goals wherever he's gone. He's got Vitesse Arnhem after that for a season, 25 goals in 29 games. Benfica for a season, 19 goals in 30 games. Feyenoord goes back to Holland for a couple of seasons, 52 goals in 61 games. Then he goes where everybody who's kind of aging and wants to steal a bit of a pay packet, because why not? Let's go to Turkey. 32 goals, 53 games. And he goes back to NAC Breda. Oh, he should have stopped at Fenerbahce. He's just trying to get that final payday. Maybe there's a bit of love because it's one of his early, who's made most appearances for. He goes to NAC Breda, 5 goals in 17 games. And then finishes off at Feyenoord, 37 appearances in the league and 8 goals, leaving him with 551 appearances, 335 goals, better than a goal every other game. Pierre van Hooijdonk is a very good goal scorer.
He is. He's a very good goal scorer. Well done, Josh. It is Pierre van Hooijdonk. He averaged 1.6 goals a game, like over his whole career.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes,
he averaged a goal every 1.6 games.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that is insane.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, he would have played for a lot better clubs than this. Yeah.
That's the hangover talking. But yeah, so it's a very well, this has been a very striker orientated episode, because what we're going to chat about in a minute is the poll that I put out in the week on the Football Talk Twitter account. You've asked me a question revolving around strikers that have scored 5 goals.
Goal scorers, yeah.
Yeah, and I've picked a striker for Wikifiles, and he was possibly, Pierre van Hooijdonk, I think, was the first player I think I would have ever described as a maverick with what happened at Nottingham Forest. When he went on strike and then... where he played, didn't, like the 90, was it the 98-99 season where they got relegated back to like League One, as it was then, and he went on strike for the whole thing and basically didn't play for like 8 months of a year. It was
and then said, I'm sorry, it could have been handled differently. Yeah, it could have been handled differently, mate.
yeah, but there we go. So Josh got another Wikifiles pretty damn quick. I do have his international stats if you're keen. He... Not the best. 14 goals.
What are we talking here? 14 goals, probably a fair amount of caps, probably about 50 caps, something like that.
Yeah, 46 caps. So, again, in a Netherlands team that would have had, similar era to Patrick Kluivert, probably would have been playing up front for the Netherlands around then. Who else would they have had up front in that era? I'm not too sure.
Roy Mackay.
Yeah, Roy Mackay would probably have been up there. So,
Early Rude. Yeah.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, I guess early Ruud. Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy would have been in there towards the end of Pierre van Hooijdonk's career. So, but yeah, there we go. Pierre van Hooijdonk is this week's Wikifiles. Hopefully, you guys got that in the comments as well. But we'll move on to discuss the poll, the famous Football Talk poll this week. It came about. First off, Josh, what did you vote for on the poll? Who was your?
I voted for a man we've just mentioned, but I've got some other names I'd like to throw into the hat because of the wording of the question. So the question was, which former EPL Premier League striker was the most natural goal scorer in your opinion? Not best player, most natural goal scorer. So you didn't define that they had to score naturally in the Premier League. They may have just been a natural goal scorer. So I threw a few other names popped into my head. But so you put forward Alan Shearer, Van Nistelrooy and Thierry Henry.
Yes.
I voted for Nistelrooy, and so I suppose I see it as natural goal scorer. I often felt like it was them was defined by goal scoring, because Thierry Henry I didn't choose because although he's an absurd goal scorer, he had so much more to his game. And the goals he scored were kind of created by him. It wasn't just kind of natural goal scorer. I saw as kind of potential tap-ins, and I mean I can't think of many goals that Ruud van Nistelrooy scored outside of the box. So
he scored one goal outside the box for Man United. Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I always remember his goal against Fulham, which was so out of character, where he kind of right foot dribbles it from about 40 yards out, round a few players, when slotted it home. It's like, that is out of character, Ruud. But I did love a bit of Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Obviously, you know I love him, and I've named my new puppy after him. That's how much I love him. So it was really good. The whole reason behind this is because I wanted to get a feel of it, and I'm really annoyed because I thought I'd sent myself. I found that at work, I found some stats and stuff. and I thought I'd sent it to myself in an email with the link to it, and I didn't, and now I can't find the page that showed who it was, because it had basically Thierry Henry, Van Nistelrooy, and Alan Shearer were the top 3 goal scorers to games ratio that they played in the Premier League that had retired, which is why I said former Premier League strikers. Because other people that were on the list were Sergio Aguero is in there, Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez was 5th, I think, in the list, but he's still playing, so I wanted to make it a former. But so there was a lot of people in there, and I'm really annoyed now that I can't find it, because there was some very strange names. Daniel Sturridge is on there. To say that he's scored quite a lot. So yeah, I was just interested to know in opinions. Ruud van Nistelrooy did win the poll with 42% of the votes, so it was quite a standout. We had 4% for other, which was interesting, and the other was Jan Argy Fjortov, ex-Swindon player.
Yeah. I can't say I remember this player. This would have failed the ride-out rule. It
would have failed the ride-out rule. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a player I remember, but looking at his stats, that man could score goals.
Swindon, 92. It was awesome. Or 93, maybe? Yeah, I think it was 92. And, he had a little aeroplane celebration. He did the aeroplane celebration before Montella did it for Roma when he started scoring goals.
Oh, okay, because his nickname was the Feather, I read. So maybe there's something linked to that. Maybe he's kind of floating through.
So it might have been, yeah. But, yeah. So it was an interesting thing. I mean, what... Is there a better natural goal scorer than Sergio Aguero in the league at the moment?
I don't know. I'm tempted to put Harry Kane up there.
Okay, yeah.
He does. That man he just scores the kind of goals which I think like Ruud van Nistelrooy did. It's just, but he's a bit more rounded, Alan Shearer-esque. But yeah, he is natural. He will be there. Because I wouldn't consider someone like Jermaine Defoe a natural goal scorer, because he scored so few tap-ins. He's kind of like the Thierry Henry mould. He kind of roofed them in. He scored blinding goals, but I wouldn't. It's difficult because obviously he's very good at scoring goals, but it's just he wouldn't score many tap-ins, which I kind of intrinsically link with that natural goal scorer, because there's that natural ability to be in the right place at the right time is what I link it with.
Okay, yeah. Aha, I found the article, so I can tell you all 10. I can tell you the top 10.
Okay, go for it. So this is Premier League goals then, is it?
This is Premier League goals per minute ratio. Okay, so in 10th position is Diego Costa. He scored a goal every 145 minutes in the Premier League, which isn't too bad at all.
No, he had a good season.
Yeah. 9th position, Javier Hernandez, Chicharito. For Man United, a goal every 145 minutes. In 8th, now this really surprised me, in 8th, Edin Dzeko.
He was one of the players I had mentioned. I've got 2 players here who I wanted to mention. Edin Dzeko is one of them, because I saw recently he became the first player to score 50-plus goals in 3 of Europe's top leagues. So he's got 50 goals in Germany for... who's it, Dave?
Oh my God, who does he play for? Wolfsburg?
Yes, he won the league there when he had a partnership with Graffiti up front.
Yes.
They scored something like 50 odd goals that season. He scored, I think, 26 goals that season, the 08-09 season.
Wow.
And he had a Barnstorm partnership, so yeah, he scored 85 goals in 142 Bundesliga appearances. He scored 72 goals in 189 Premier League appearances, and he scored 78 Italian appearances. Oh, sorry, that was full. That wasn't just the league. That was overall.
All
but
comps,
yeah, all comps. So yeah, he's definitely a natural goal scorer. But nicknamed the lamppost. Not very affectionately. I think because he felt like in his early career the ball just kind of came in and hit him.
Yeah, fair enough. So he had a goal every 142 minutes. Yeah, Edin Dzeko, and that is matched by number 7, which is Daniel Sturridge, 142 minutes for every goal, which when you think of his injury record is quite impressive. So I like that. Can you guess number 6? Have a go. Who do you think it is?
Number 6. So top 3 is Henry, Ruud, and Shearer.
No, that's not.
Shearer.
They were the top 3 people that have retired from football.
Oh, so this doesn't include retired from football?
So this list includes absolutely everybody. But I put that
Okay.
opinion poll out because they were the
right,
top 3
gotcha.
that had
Sorry.
retired.
Yeah, I'm getting there, listeners. I'm getting there.
You getting there?
So,
Good.
yeah, number 6 on the list. Is there going to be a random Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in there?
No, there isn't. These are all
Okay.
the people left on the list are all very, 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 very famous.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, Alan Shearer
Luis
isn't on the
Suarez.
list. Sorry,
Yeah.
Alan Shearer isn't on the list.
Oh.
He's not in the top 10. That was a error on my part.
Luis Suarez?
He's number 5. He's 5th on the list with a goal every 139 minutes in the Premier League.
Okay. Well, where's Kane in this list?
Harry Kane is 2nd.
Oh, yes.
A goal every 114 minutes, Harry Kane.
Nice. So Aguero's number 1.
Aguero is number 1, a goal every 108 minutes.
So I'm missing 3, 4, and 6, am I?
You're missing 3, 4, and 6. Now, number 4 and number 3 were in the poll, so...
Okay, so we have Rude and Thierry. So number 6 is going to be... Are they still in the Premier League?
They're not still in the Premier League, but they are still playing. They're currently playing where everybody goes to retire for a final pay packet, as you just mentioned earlier in the pod.
No, they're not, Dave. I'm going to guess that they've gone back. I'm going to say they've gone back to their boyhood club with Feyenoord, and it's Robin van Persie.
It is, yeah, because I'm thinking he's moved, hasn't he? He's just moved back to Feyenoord. It is Robin van Persie.
Yes.
Yeah, number 6.
Nice.
A goal every 140 minutes. And Thierry Henry had a goal every 121 minutes. Ruud van Nistelrooy had a goal every 128 minutes. Now, people that were very, very good but didn't make the list. Alan Shearer was 11th with 147 minutes per goal. Michael Owen, 153 minutes per goal. Now, weirdly, Olivier Giroud is 16th on the list, 161 minutes per goal.
Yeah, some of these players are benefiting by being either injury prone or substitute wonders, aren't they? So, like Javier Hernandez in there because he mainly comes on a sub, much like Giroud. He's probably played quite a lot. Yeah, they obviously very good players, but Alan Shearer is not in the top 10 because of sheer weight of numbers, isn't he? He's played such a vast amount of Premier League games. To keep that up for the whole time would have been absurd. But yeah, I mean, it's still impressive.
Yeah,
nonetheless.
It was just a stat that really, really interested me.
Yeah,
and I know.
So would you like to know my other player?
Yes.
My other player who I was going to suggest. They didn't do it in the Premier League. Okay, so they played 7 times for Bolton, scoring 0 goals in the league.
Oh my God!
All right.
Okay, who was it?
Yeah, they played 11 times in total for Bolton, scoring 3 goals. Do you know who I'm going to refer to? Who was somewhat mystical to me when I was growing up, because I just knew of his goal scoring stats, but never. I think YouTube. I wasn't quite watching stuff on YouTube at that age because I mean this is kind of late 90s. This is a Brazilian forward, very good with his head. Played in Portugal, Turkey, and England, and then a few other clubs. It was Mario Jardel.
Oh yeah, he was an amazing target man on Champ Manager.
Yeah, so these are Mario Jardel's stats. So at Porto, he's had 125 appearances, 130 goals in the league.
Wow.
All right. Then he moved to Galatasaray, scored 22 and 24. He then went to Sporting and scored 53 in 49.
Bloody hell.
He then moved to Bolton and scored 0 and 7. So him basically, but overall his career in league terms, 200. I think it's 209 goals, 246 appearances. That's why I put him forward as one of the most natural goal scorers.
That is ridiculous.
Premier League's ever seen.
That's incredible.
We didn't see peak Mario.
No. Bloody hell. Okay. Oh well, yeah. So that was just a little bit I wanted to talk about, but we've got to go back to your question, Josh.
We have got to finish on my question. So, to reiterate, the question was: 5 Premier League players have completed the feat of scoring 5 Premier League goals in a match. Who are they? Dave,
I
had a
have.
stab and had his first one, and he got Andy Cole with 5 goals against Ipswich. That was in 1995.
Yes.
Did you get any of the other 4 then, Dave?
I think I've got 2 others. Now,
Okay,
the other
hit
one
me.
is Dimitar Berbatov for Man United, and I think
Yes,
it was they. I want to say they play in white, but I think it might be Blackburn. Then he got 5
it
goals
is
against.
Blackburn, and
Yes.
that was in 2010,
Yeah.
and so that was 7-1 versus Blackburn Rovers.
And the other one I've got is the more recent one, which I think is probably the most recent one. Sergio Aguero against
Yes,
Newcastle.
yes, in 2015.
Yeah, and then I ran out, and I have no idea after
Okay,
that.
so obviously, because obviously we're talking about best goal scorers in Premier League history, um, we have got so Andy Cole was first with in '95. Then he was followed by Alan Shearer in 1999 in an 8-0 drubbing of Sheffield Wednesday for Newcastle.
Wow. Okay.
And then in 2000, so it took another 10 years for it to happen again. In 2000, Jermaine Defoe bagged 5 in the 9-1 thrashing of Wigan Athletic.
Oh yeah.
I think Aaron Lennon that day got something like for Jermaine Defoe. Eric Edmond was on his return from injury at left back, and that's not return. Chris Kirkland was in goal. Poor old Chris Kirkland. I think he was just close to tears at the end of it. He didn't look he looked a broken man. And yes, so then that was in 09. 010 was Dimitar Berbatov against Blackburn, and then in 2015 we had Sergio Aguero against Newcastle United.
Yeah.
So looking back, there's been a 9-0, an 8-0, and 9-1. So the last 3 times the opposing team has scored a goal each, but yeah, never as a kind of established side been drubbed. You've got Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, now Championship, Wigan, now Championship or League One,
League
Blackburn,
One.
same. Yeah, and then Newcastle, who are probably the best of the bunch there, but they've obviously had some peaks and troughs in their form over the years. But yeah, that is that.
Interesting.
Will we see? When will we see another one?
Next week.
Next week. Who's going to score it?
I'll go
Harry
with
Kane.
Raheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling. Okay. Heard it here first. Put your bets on, people.
Raheem Sterling to score 4+ goals in a game. That's what the bet should be.
Wow. That is impressive. Well done, Raheem.
Yeah. So,
the nation's favourite, Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments below for strikers, and did you get Pierre Van Hooijdonk and things like that, and who's your standout best natural goal scorer? Obviously, Josh brought Yardell to the table, and that's going to be tough to beat, I think, with the stats he had. Yeah,
so maybe there's a player who kind of graced Premier League's turf for maybe a short amount of time. Wasn't a player who'd meet Dave's list because they didn't perform there, but everywhere else they were just banging them in. So that'd be interesting to see. Dave, where can people find us?
People can find us, Josh, if they so want to. They can find us on Twitter, and you can just go at Football Talk. And remember, there's no A in football.
There's no A in football.
No, there's no A in football. So it's football without the A, and then talk, all one word, on Twitter. And then you can find us on YouTube. Just search for Football Talk, all one word. We'll come up. Probably not, even if you don't put all one word, I think we come up pretty high. And SoundCloud, once again, if you search Football Talk on SoundCloud, we are #1 that comes up. So thank you everybody that's doing the listening. Yeah, thank you everybody that's tuning in. All the comments, all the likes, all of that good stuff gets us higher up so more people can find us. Go and spread the news to your friends. Tell them that there's 2 blokes that rant about football and come up with weird stats that you can then impress your friends with in the pub, because everybody loves a stat in football. Everybody loves a stat. But I think, Josh, we'll leave it there. So unless there's anything else you want to quickly discuss.
I've just had a thought that if we were to release a book about football, because there's no A in football, we'd the B to Z of football. The
B to Z of football. I love that. That is amazing. So coming to a bookstore near you in about 10 years' time. All new good bookstores, yeah. Maybe an ebook on Amazon, because they're cheaper to publish, aren't they? So,
all right, we'll do it, yeah. And we've already cut out 1/26 of the book by taking... There's no A's in the whole book, actually.
There we go, then. So on that note, we'll end it there. Josh, say your goodbyes and farewells.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for listening. But for now, we're out. Cheers.